You ready?
Yep.
Cool, let's do it. All right. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Counterculture Podcast. We are here with
Grace Lochner.
Grace Lochner, CrossFit extraordinaire, college student, and Wisconsin resident.
Yeah.
Funny enough.
Yeah. Right now, Wisconsin resident, half
Yeah.
Wisconsin, half Tennessee, but Wisconsin native. For sure.
Native, that's the word.
There you go.
What's up, dude? How are you?
I am good. Nice little Sunday rest day today.
Yeah.
Chilling today.
That's sweet. So Grace is on a deload
I have
this
been
week.
the past week, not by choice. It takes some convincing to like actually make me deload, but then like first couple of days you always feel like crap, and then like I feel like your body's kind of like being like, oh, I can kind of calm down a little bit. And then like last 3 days of the week, you like feel really good. So the past 3 days of training have been really good.
I like that you call it training and not working out.
Yeah.
Because that's actually what you're doing, right?
Yes.
You're getting ready for
very
stuff.
big difference.
Yeah.
Very big difference.
What's that difference for you?
Definitely like intention. Like for me, I don't know. I feel like this is like with CrossFit, the sport and the methodology have the same name. So it gets kind of confusing for people because they'll be like, how are you working out for so long? And I'm like, well, I'm not working out for that long, but like training is like, if I have to get better at like a certain movement, I have to train that movement. Or like for me, if I just wanted to work out, if I had a choice, I'd probably go for a run. But like since I'm training, I can't just be like, oh, I'm going to go run for a long time. Like I have to lift weights for like a long time with long rest periods in between. So
Wait,
like,
you like to run?
I love running.
Ooh,
I do love
okay.
running. Yep.
Long distance?
No, okay, not like runner long distance,
Yeah.
but like CrossFitter long distance. Like if there's a workout with running in it, like chances are I really like the workout. So.
Sweet. Okay, cool. What so you're a college student. Where do you go to school?
I take online classes through Liberty University, but I live in Knoxville, Tennessee. So I started my freshman year at the University of Tennessee as a full-time student, and then kind of realized that it just didn't fit the path that I felt was for me in my life. But I met my roommates there and my best friends there, and I got started at a really cool gym that has like such a great training environment for me. And I figured like, you know, if I want to see other parts of the country and kind of branch out a little bit, now's the time to do it. So I stayed living there with my roommates, and then I just take my online classes through Liberty.
Heck yeah, dude. Okay, so why or how do I say this? So you went to school for a full year, right?
Yes. Yeah.
For anybody that's listening and doesn't know who you are, what do you do?
I am a CrossFit athlete.
So you're trying to do the CrossFit thing full time, right?
I am trying to do the CrossFit thing full time.
Or not trying, you are doing it.
Yeah, I'd say it's like, it kind of depends on who you ask, I guess, because like I am living my life as if I'm doing it full time, but you know, like there's different financial things that start coming into play, and like in order to say that I'm like a full-time CrossFit athlete, I think there's like a few more things that I need to achieve in order to like confidently say like I'm a professional CrossFit athlete.
What would
like,
those things be?
I'd say competing at the games, and being able to like make a sustainable living off of whether that's competing or like sponsorships and deals and stuff like that. But like, so I'd say I'm living my life as if I'm a full-time CrossFit athlete, so that hopefully I can confidently say it in the future as like that I'm actually doing it, you know?
Yeah, I got you. I guess my opinion would be that you are a full-time athlete and you're kind of doing a full-time CrossFit athlete, and that you're doing the school thing on the side.
Yeah,
that's
more
how
like
I
an
would look at
athlete
it.
student than a student athlete.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So what's that like balancing the student life and the full-time athlete life? Because CrossFit's a little bit different than most sports where, you know, you can go to school and still be a football player.
Yeah.
But they're doing like 2-a-days, you know, they're waking up at 4 or 5 a.m. They're going to the gym, whatever, and then they have practice later on. But for CrossFit, it's like an all-day ordeal. What's it like balancing the two?
I mean, it definitely has its seasons. Some seasons are harder than others, but I think the online classes really help me at least because I can manage, like, I know that the open quarterfinals, hopefully semifinals are in the spring. So I'm taking a heavier course load now so that hopefully I can like lighten it in the spring or like just cram it all in early and then like hopefully be a little ahead. But yeah, I mean, it's definitely like something that you have to like kind of learn as you go, how to manage. Like if I have to get up earlier some days to get some schoolwork in, then I'll do it. Or if like my rest days are spent on my computer grinding out homework, like that's just how it is. Or like if I have to like stay up later, or a lot of times it's like I do my training and then I do homework either at the gym or at a coffee shop or something, and then I'll go back, train again. And it's like finding times when you can just kind of get it all in and just make sure that it all gets done. Like it kind of gets to a point where it's like there's nothing to it but to like get it done. There's nothing to it but to do it.
It's
like,
just a constant hustle.
Yeah, like you're just like you got to get it done, so you're going to somehow. You know, there's not really many like like there's little tricks here and there to make it easier, but at the end of the day, it's like it needs to get done, so I'm gonna get it done.
Yeah, I feel like it's got to be difficult at your age, because I've been trying to put myself in your position when I was 20 years old, right?
Yes, yeah, 20.
When I was 20 and like just going to school and working 2 jobs, I became a good student in college, but like balancing even just work and school was tough, like a full-time course load.
Yeah, and I coach too at my gym. So
you do?
I do. I do a couple classes a week. Just I love coaching. I like started it just to kind of like get more involved with the gym and stuff, and then I ended up like loving it way more than I thought.
That's awesome.
But so with all that, it's kind of like, I mean, for me, it makes it a little easier that like I don't love going out or like partying or anything, and like that's nothing against like doing that at all, but
no, it is.
Like,
fuck you guys.
Yeah, you guys suck. I'm just kidding. But like I do think it makes it easier because, you know, like I think a lot of like where it's hard to balance like schoolwork and like working and stuff is like if you're like spending all Sunday hungover, then it's like really hard to get your work done. So it's kind of easier, whereas like if I can be like hanging out at my apartment at like 8 o'clock at night on a Saturday and like doing homework, it just makes it a little easier. And like, again, that's like nothing against going out or anything, but that I think that does help a lot, that it's like kind of something has to give. And like for me, that's what it is. So
many questions there, because you come from Wisconsin.
Party vibe, for sure.
If anybody knows anything about Wisconsin listening, we are the drinking state for sure. And I was wrapped up in it for a long time, until honestly I got into CrossFit. I was still drinking for a little bit, and then I realized, because my goals were to get to the semifinals, that was what I wanted to do, and I have now taken a step back. I'm gonna let other people win for a little bit. I gotta chill. You know,
you can't make it too hard on us.
But you know, it's not conducive to the goals of CrossFit at all. Drinking, partying. But you grew up here as a teenager, and teenagers start drinking really early here, and they do a lot of crazy shit. Take me through what it was like, kind of, and then we'll get into college years, because I think that's really interesting too. But take me through what it was kind of like growing up. When did you start CrossFit? 14?
14.
Okay. What's it like growing up in Wisconsin? You start this CrossFit thing, and you think you probably just think it's a way to like work out and like be cool or whatever.
Yeah.
And then all your friends start like kind of merging into the drinking, partying. I'm assuming that they did.
Yeah. A lot of them.
And then you're this kind of like fringe weird person that's like, you know what? I'm just going to work out today.
Yeah.
What's that like?
I will say like when people started drinking more and partying more, it was frustrating at first, because it's just it's how it goes, is like every like outing or like get together has alcohol involved somehow.
Yeah.
And
everybody's got a White Claw.
Yeah, exactly. Which honestly, like I'd still go sometimes, like and just hang out. You don't have to, just because you go doesn't mean you have to do everything, you know? But then it like gets to a point sometimes, like when there's enough alcohol involved, you're like, all right, I'm like so done with this now. Like I can't do this anymore. I'm out. Yeah. And so it kind of like depends. Like I don't think you have to completely like just isolate yourself and be like, I'm never hanging out with you guys. Like, we have different values and I don't, whatever. Like, I think you can still go and have a good time, just make good decisions and like, keep your goals in mind. But like, at first it was hard because people would be like, well, why aren't you drinking? Like, that's so lame. Like, you can have one, like, that's not going to affect your training. Or it's almost like they'd be like, oh, you have training tomorrow. Yeah. Like, whatever. Like, it would almost turn into like a little,
mocking you a little bit. Yeah.
And I get it, like high schoolers, whatever. But what I will say was like, as I've gotten older, the older I've gotten, those same people have like either reached out and been like, I think it's so cool what you're doing, or like, hey, I've really been starting to get into working out, and like, or like, I'm really kind of over the drinking thing. And it's like, I don't know. I just kind of realized that like over time, like, not that, I don't know. Some people are just kind of coming around a little bit, and it's just taken them a little bit of time to like, now they understand, which makes me feel a lot better. Not like an I told you so moment, but kind of just like a see, like now you get it moment.
Yeah.
Like, but yeah, I mean, it was hard, but at the same time, like, I know, like, for me, my goals were just more important to me than like going out and doing some of that stuff. And so, I mean, sometimes it got hard because you start to feel like, dang, I'm like missing out on stuff in high school. But then it was like I was gaining all these other really cool experiences. So it's like, I saw a quote once. It was like, just because your priorities are different doesn't mean doesn't mean they're wrong, or like you're not missing out just because your priorities are different than anyone else. And so that was a really cool perspective shift of like, yeah, you're not like maybe experiencing like some of these like parties and like stuff like that, but like you're gaining, like you competed in this state and met these people and like all that stuff. So yeah.
Well, you just have a different life experience, right?
Yeah.
So like everybody goes through different like stages in life, right? And like, I mean, when I was 20, I was definitely concerned with drinking and partying and stuff. But as I've gotten older too, I've seen like, as I've gotten away from it and whatever, it's like your priorities are different than the other person's, right? But like you're having different experiences that those people are not having.
Yeah.
So it's not that you're missing out. It's just that your experience is completely different.
Yeah. And I think also like one of the hardest parts for me was a lot of people who don't drink are very judgmental of people that do, or like think that they are like above them. Or
well, we are.
Right. We're just so much better than you.
Yes.
All the time.
Exactly.
But like, so I feel like I dealt with a lot of that, and I, like a lot of my friends, like they do drink. I'm in college. Like all my friends are in college. Like I don't judge anyone for the decisions that they're gonna make. Like if you want to go out and party with your friends, like go out and party with your friends. I just don't want to go out. Like I don't want to be a part of it. So I feel like that was kind of like a hard part for me of like making sure that my friends didn't feel like I was judging them. And like, but also like realizing that like, no, it's not anything against you, but like, I don't want to be a part of that, or like, I don't want to be around that kind of thing.
I think, I get what you're saying for sure. I think that a lot of times though, that comes from the person who's drinking's insecurity of what they're doing, and not so much like, I personally don't know any of my sober friends that are like, I'm better than these people not drinking. I say it all the time to fuck with my friends. I'm like, like if they have a beer, I'm like, dude, I'm sober. Like you suck, like
literally so, like you're such an alcoholic.
Yeah, like you're terrible. And but I like, it's just for fun. I've never actually met somebody who was sober and like acted like that. I'm sure there are those people for sure, but on the other side of the coin, I think it's really weird the people who drink that are like, you can have one. Yeah. Like what's so wrong? But you see that all the time openly. You don't see it
It's weird how like it kind of makes people like really upset when they find out that I don't drink, or like like I've had people be like, why are you not drinking? Like what are you doing? And I was like,
do you go to parties?
Not really. Like no, I don't. Overall, like no, but like we joke because my roommate, she's like my best friend, but like, so she went out for her 21st birthday, and we went out for her 20th birthday. So we call that like my annual going out, because like, she's like, all I want for my birthday is for you to come out with me, and just like, you don't even have to drink, just like have a good time. So like, I'll go out and I'll hang out, and I'll be with them, but I mean, I'm not going to drink or anything, but like, so no, I don't go out to like bars or like parties or anything, but I can't say that I've never like gone and just like been around people. Cause now the older that I do get, chances are there's at least one other person that isn't drinking there too, which is like, then you can kind of just like talk with them. But I also am like a grandma, and like I go to bed so early. So like I get tired anyways. So like, I don't know, just pop in, say, hey, Irish, goodbye.
Sure.
We're out.
All right. So let's revisit back when you're like 14, 15 years old. Okay. So what was the first CrossFit gym that you like entered?
So the first CrossFit gym that I entered was Foremost CrossFit, and it's near Madison, Wisconsin.
Okay.
And there was a CrossFit Games athlete who.
Why were you out there? Aren't you from here?
Yeah, but there was a CrossFit Games athlete there who, what was it? Or not there, but he was he's friends with the owner, and it was Jacob Hepner, and he was there, and he was training. He was doing like a train with Jacob weekend or something.
Nice.
And
he's a cool dude.
Yeah, he is really cool. He's awesome. And so he followed brute strength at the time, and I had always like been like, dang, like when I like compete, like I think I want to follow brute strength. Like I was just very drawn to them, and so then I went and did that train with Jacob weekend and like trained up there with them. And so then I would go maybe like once a month to that gym before I was like a member at any gym. Otherwise, I would just like work out in my basement with like dumbbells and like
By yourself?
by myself, like
Nice.
basement and garage, whatever. And then
You were hitting CrossFit like by yourself in the
yeah.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, or like the football. I mean, I used to go to like the high school weight room was like the first like gym that I went to, which was really funny because I would be in there like doing clean and jerks and like CrossFit workouts, and like the football team would be in there, and I'm like literally like 13 or 14, like lifting these weights, and these guys are like, "What is she doing in here?" Like,
But what I hear from some of the coaches around the area is that Pewaukee is actually pretty good with like the Olympic weightlifting side of it. Is that true?
I have no idea.
You don't
like,
know?
I was there. I mean, I went there like when I was super young. It may be different
Yeah, I
now.
guess that would
I
be
didn't
years
like
ago.
really receive
Yeah.
coaching there. Like I would just go in there,
Okay.
work out, write up these like crazy CrossFit workouts, and
And rip a CrossFit
what
workout.
are
And
you
be
doing,
like,
bro? And
that's
like
hilarious.
it was like really funny. But I do think it's like now, like you hear all these women being like, "I'm scared to go to the gym. I'm to go to the gym," and I was like, I was 13, like doing split jerks in front of like these big football players, and
Yeah.
they were actually so nice. Like they would help me like figure stuff out and whatever. But yeah, so then that was like the first gym that I started in. And then when it was kind of to the point where I was like, okay, I really like want to actually pursue CrossFit, I started going to Badger CrossFit, which is in Wauwatosa.
Got it.
Was there for a while before I moved to Tennessee, and now we've just got like a couple gyms that I go to when I'm home. CrossFit
Yeah.
Time Warp, Integrated Athletics now.
Hey, there we go. Nice. For anybody that doesn't, I feel like I never talk about it
Yeah,
on the
plug it.
podcast, but yeah, I own a gym, by the way.
Yeah,
So
and it's awesome.
That's where we're
It's
at
really
right
cool,
now.
So
Thanks, Grace. Awesome. Okay, so when did you realize, when did you like have this idea in your head that this was something that you wanted to do? Because this is not normal for a teenager to like,
no.
to think
No,
about.
except for like a 14-year-old girl to be like, I want to lift weights for a living.
Yeah.
So, pretty much like right when I started CrossFit, so I used to play basketball, and I was very big into basketball. I wanted to play in college. I wanted to do whatever I could with it. I loved it. I worked really hard at it. And it's kind of interesting because I see some of that work ethic like now, like it's in CrossFit now. It just shifted what it was towards. But so then I played CrossFit through high school, and then like whatever year that was, I think it was like freshman year, and I had found CrossFit, and I realized there was a teenage division. And so from there I was like, dang, like I kind of felt myself kind of burning out of basketball a little bit. And just falling more in love with CrossFit.
Cool.
And so at that point, I kind of just like, you know, I prayed about it a lot. I thought about it a lot. And I was like, I think I'm going to stop playing basketball and focus more time on CrossFit. I still played tennis all 4 years of high school. So I still did like another high school. Yeah.
Okay.
Tennis. I
Cool.
know.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I played all 4 years of high school.
I joined the tennis team at Arrowhead.
Oh, they're pretty good.
Yeah, my junior year of high school,
Yeah.
just to get the track suit.
Yep. Yeah.
That was the only reason.
That's what tennis is, one of those sports. Like you're either like
They got cool
die
merch.
hard, like spend thousands of dollars on lessons, or
Yeah.
like I literally just want the merch.
Yeah,
and, like
yeah.
something to do with my friends. No, yeah, but it was
Yeah, that's literally
it was
what we
really
did.
fun. But
Yeah.
I loved playing tennis, but most of my focus was on CrossFit. And I don't remember what the question was.
Yeah, when did you realize that it was something that you wanted to?
So yeah, it was pretty much like right when I started it. I never went through the phase of like, oh, I just like doing it for fun. Like it was like I found it, and then really soon after I found out that like you could compete in it.
Yeah.
And at least then it was just like, okay, I'm gonna compete at the games as a teenager in the teenage division, and then that became my goal.
Sweet. So, me personally, I'm one of those people too. It sounds like you're like this. Correct me if I'm wrong. But if I'm doing something, I'm like all into it.
Yes.
And I need to figure out a way, how can I beat somebody else at this, right? So you said that you were all in with basketball. So when I got into CrossFit, I had no idea what this thing was.
Yeah.
I just I thought, to be honest with you, like I don't know how to say it. Like I was in bodybuilding, powerlifting world, strongman, all that stuff. And we just kind of thought CrossFit was like really stupid.
Yeah.
You know, it was cool to
As
hate on
most do,
CrossFit.
and, like, you're not in it. Yeah.
Yeah. It was really cool to hate on it. Long story short, COVID happens. I was living on top of a box, actually, Bark River CrossFit in
Okay,
Delafield.
cool. Yeah.
And they opened up. They were the only place open, like at this point for COVID. And so like, I'm like, dude, fuck it. I'm just going to go try it out, whatever. I try it. I fall in love with it.
Yeah.
So I figure out, I asked somebody, do people compete in this? And they're like, yeah, because the only thing I knew about was the games.
Okay.
Right. But
yeah.
I didn't know if there was like a sanction and like local comps. And then immediately I'm like, I'm going pro. Like I have to go pro.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I have no other choice.
Yeah, no other choice. And I'm like, I have to compete in this, and I went all in. So, but I've always been that way. What do you think it is for you that gave you that kind of like work ethic or that need to like be all in and compete against other people and to be the best?
Yeah, like I really don't know what it is. I feel like I've just always been that way. Like anything that I do, I'm gonna do very fully.
Yeah.
And with my whole heart. And
is it something that like your parents instilled in you?
I mean, yeah, like I do think I grew up watching my parents work hard in everything that they
Okay.
did. Like my mom, like just working so hard to be like the best mom that she could to us, and same with my dad, and like same with them at work and everything. But like as in like sports, like it's like. Because it is weird. Like, I do feel like it is in everything that I do. But at the same time, like, I don't feel it as much in school as I do with CrossFit. Like,
Well, you're probably not passionate about school.
Yeah. Like, I work hard at school. Don't get me
Yeah.
wrong. But, like, definitely I feel that, like, fire more with CrossFit.
Yeah.
And I do think part of it comes from my faith. Just, like, I try to live out my faith in the way that I live my life. And, like, a big part of that is, like, everything that you do it for the glory of God. That's like one of my favorite verses. And it's like, I don't think you can do something I don't think it'd be glorifying the gifts that God gave you by doing something like at 75% or like half of your ability. Like if I'm going to do something and try to give God the glory for giving him giving me the opportunity to do something, like I want to do it to the best of my ability. And I think that's such a gift, but it can also be kind of a curse at times. Yeah. And I think that also plays in the reason why like I've just never gotten into drinking, because I know myself like that, and I'm like, I don't think that personality with drinking like meshes very well. Like I think that's kind of a dangerous combination.
It is.
But I mean, even same with CrossFit, it's like I've had coaches, and my coach now like has to like reel me back a lot and be like, you need to chill, like you're doing enough, like whatever. I'm like, I don't think I'm doing enough, like I need to do more, I need to do this. And like, so it's definitely a balancing act. Like I love that I'm like that, but at the same time, sometimes I'm like, dang, I wish I could just be like normal and like take a chill pill for a second. Sure. But so I don't really know like what it was. I mean, it's definitely like watching my parents and like the people around me work hard, but at the same time, I've always just kind of like felt that when it came to sports, especially. Okay.
You mentioned faith. It's a big part of your life?
Very big part of my life, yeah.
You grew up with it, or?
Yep. Yeah.
Okay.
Whole family.
Whole family. Sweet. I just recently became a Christian again. Yeah. So yeah, it's great. It is actually super great. I love it.
That is awesome.
But I 100% can agree with you on that. I'm not very empathetic or kind towards unhealthy people. And I know that I need to be. But I kind of think the same way, right? That like if you're a Christian or you're a believer, whatever, you have faith, that the best thing that you can do is honor your body and like push its limits and stuff, and like I don't know, just like test the body that you're given from God, because it's probably what he intended you to do. Right. Yeah. So I find that interesting. When you're competing or when you're training, does faith play any sort of role or part in the motivation that you have?
Yes, and like in ways that I'm learning and like navigating as I go through the sport more. Like I think before, like when I was younger, it was just kind of like, it was like just what I told you, like I want to glorify God with what I'm doing and whatever, and which is still so true, but I think it just grows deeper as I go through the sport and learn about like myself. And I think like motivations wise, it's really easy to like be like, I want to be a CrossFit Games athlete. I want to be like a semifinals athlete or a professional athlete or whatever. Or like, I'm I'm not the strong athlete, I'm the fit athlete, or like you put yourself into these like categories and like boxes, and you start to like identify yourself a certain way. And like especially recently, like my coach has been helping me with this a lot. He's like a really big Christian and like has been helping me with this too, but like placing my identity not in the sport. And like that's a very like that's not even like a Christian thing. Like I think all athletes need to be able to do that, and to be able to not put your identity in your sport, which is really hard, especially with a sport like CrossFit where like it does consume most of your life.
It's your entire day.
And all of your life. And so like for me, it's been like my identity is not my placement on a leaderboard. And like another thing is like I told you, like I have that work ethic, but I think like in like I've been kind of realizing like a part of me I think puts my identity in my work ethic, because I've never felt like I was like the super talented athlete where everyone's like, dang, they just have so much like raw talent.
Yeah.
And I've never felt like that. So I've just always worked so hard. And like, that's been my gift, is like not necessarily the raw physical talent, but I've been able to like have this work ethic and this ability to work really hard. But I almost to the point where like I put my identity in it. So if I'm not working hard, then what am I? Or if I'm not like, being the hardest worker that everyone knows, then like I don't have any value type of thing. So as I'm like learning through CrossFit and like going through CrossFit and all this and like just growing as a person and in the sport, it's been cool to like be able to rest on my faith and be like, you are not your hard work. Like God allows you to work hard and he wants you to work hard. But if there's a day where like you do a little less work, or like you're sick or whatever, like you don't have any less value, and like your value is found in Jesus. And like it's that I feel like it has brought me a lot of peace in a sport that, I mean, we see it, there's athletes dropping out left and right because they like the mental side of it is so much, and it's a lot. Like we love it, and I love it, I love the challenge of it, I think it's amazing, but it does get to be a lot sometimes. So like my faith has like allowed me to rest in the fact that like my identity is found in Jesus. It's not in my hard work. It's not in my snatch PR. It's not in whether I make top 40 to make it to semifinals or not, you know? So I feel like that, and I'm obviously like, it's not perfect, but like I'm learning to deal with that and like grow in that, which has definitely played like a big role in my just like training and the way I approach training and competing and all that stuff.
I love that. Hold on one second. Let me restart it. Okay. So you've said this a couple times, that your identity is not in your hard work. It's not in the sport. It rests in Jesus. What does that mean?
I mean, it's knowing that like Jesus died on the cross for me, and the end is already won. So no matter what I do, he doesn't love me anymore or any less. And I can't lose that. And I can't gain it either by performing really well or working really hard. And I can't lose it by taking last at a competition or failing a PR attempt or anything else. Like it's having peace in knowing that when I enter a competition, like God is the same God before I go in it and after I come out of it. And I heard another athlete say that right before I competed one time, and it just like struck me so hard because, you know, like obviously you want to perform well, and like if you don't perform, you're not going in it being like, I don't care if I take dead last, like it kind of sucks, but like at the same time, like overall in your heart you can know that like it's okay, and like it's just like it's kind of hard to explain, like it's just like a peace that you have. It's just like the peace of Jesus.
Sure. Yeah. And so you also said that you would do it to glorify God, right? What does that mean?
Yeah, I mean, I think people can take that like a bunch of different ways. For me, it kind of just, I think of it as like the opportunities that I've been given in my life, and the attributes that make me who I am, like have all come together so perfectly in the way that God created them. And I think to give anything less than 100% to the path that he has me on would be not glorifying him. So I think like being able to like confidently be who God created me to be and pursue the path that he has me on and like trust in that is just glorifying God and like hopefully people can see that just like through the way that I act. Like that's the goal. But
Cool.
I don't know if that, hopefully they can, but like that's
Yeah.
the goal. And so like to me, that's just what it is. It's like when people look at you, even if like during this podcast, like if the topic of faith didn't come up, like hopefully people would be able to like tell just by the way
your
that
demeanor and the way you
and,
carry
like,
yourself.
the way that I carry myself, the values that I try to live by and all that stuff. So yeah.
What are some of the values that you hold true to your heart?
I mean, I have a lot, but like,
Give me like top 2.
okay. Let me think.
Yeah. This is getting deep.
Yeah, seriously. I'm like, oh my gosh. Okay. I have to think. Values. I mean, the first one, like I've always loved that. Just love God, love people. And I think that if you learn to love God, the way that you're supposed to, it'll make you want to love people more.
Sweet.
And
I like that.
then you'll have this kind of like light around you. Like I know a lot of people who I'm like, they just love people so well.
Yeah.
And then you're like, that can't just come from people. Like that has to be something else.
I agree.
And, I would just say, I mean, another one is just, I just love that verse of like, whatever you do, do it for the glory of God. Again, just like work hard at what you are doing. And I don't think there's a way that you can work so hard at something and, like give everything that you have to something and have nothing good come from it.
Yeah.
So that's kind of like the two that I'd say those are my top 2. There's probably more, but I'm just,
Sure.
it's on the spot. I can't.
Yeah.
Right now,
that was super on the spot,
No,
but I
that's
appreciate
okay.
your
Yeah.
answers. The one thing that I've kind of noticed, and I noticed this when I was not in CrossFit too, I think I still think it's kind of weird. So many CrossFitters identify with Christianity. Mm-hmm. Is there like a parallel that you can draw with that? For me, it seems to be, I don't want to say this and be like offensive towards me. I really don't care actually. So I don't even know why I prefaced it like
we
that.
all need to have.
Yeah, I actually
care at
don't
all.
care. Yeah, I have no idea why I said that. But I feel like a lot of like the people who are more prone to working hard, and CrossFit's the hardest of the hard sports to do.
Yeah.
And you have to work the hardest at it. But a lot of people in CrossFit are Christians and also really, really hard working. And for me, I kind of see a parallel there, right? Because like they're not just doing it for or through themselves. Because I don't think that you can work like, I don't know if I'm explaining this right. I don't know if you can work yourself to the edge every single day if there's not like an external force helping you.
Yeah. And I think part of that is just human limitation.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
I just can't like CrossFit, dude, mentally so hard sometimes. Like just for so many different reasons. And like, I mean, when you're pushing yourself to the physical limit every single day, like you're going to break down a little bit.
Right.
And so I think that's part of it is like having something else to put my hope in and like to find peace in and rest in is like very important. But I also think like working hard is a biblical principle. Like that's like literally like in the Bible so many times. So like it makes sense that if like I don't know, if you're trying to follow biblical principles, like it just kind of goes together, I feel like.
Yeah. I'm really into personal development. I think like it's the greatest. I feel like if you're not working on yourself in some capacity, like you're lacking, right? Like the people who are the victims all the time and like are broke and like, you know, they like, I don't know how to say this because I want to say useless, but that's not the word that I'm saying. But the
people who just take up space.
Yeah, no. But the people who are like victims and they're broke and like they're woe is me, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Fuck. I just lost my train of thought. That's crazy. What were we just talking about? Sorry.
Like how working hard is like a biblical principle.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah, so I'm into the personal development stuff. And I always feel like those people like never have anything to rest on, right?
Yeah.
And so they're always like, and I was an atheist for a really long time, so I can kind of speak to this in two different ways, right? For me, recently when I came to God, I was like, oh my God, the Bible is the personal development book.
Right.
Like it's literally the self-discipline book.
Yeah.
I don't understand how more people aren't seeing this. That like, if you're really serious about leveling up in life and stuff, how are you not living by the values
Right.
of that book?
And I mean, a lot of them are even just like, it's like, love others as you love yourself. Like, not all of it is like, do everything for God. And it's like,
No.
some of it is literally like, manage your finances, like
Yeah.
work hard. Like, it's like stuff that like everyone should just like want to live by.
Yeah, I read.
I'm biased, but
Yeah, no, but it is though. I read a verse this morning, and it was something along the lines of like, everything that you do it in like the name of God, but also he like. I'm using this study Bible right now, the Tony Evans study Bible or whatever. And the way that he like wrote it out was God's not going to just like the law of attraction idea. Do you know what that is? He's like, God's not just going to hand you it because you fucking wish for it a million times. Right. Yeah. He's like, you have to work seriously hard in order to get it, but making sure that you put your intention in God to get the thing is like what's going to help you even quicker get the thing. And I'm like, oh my God.
It's mind-blowing. Yeah, I'm like, oh my God, that makes sense. Yeah.
I'm like, how did all these tenets that I lived by for a long time, just because I've always been into the woo-woo, like new modern spiritual stuff. You know, like I have Buddha tattooed on my arm, kind of unfortunately now. But we live and learn, you know.
Hey, yep, exactly.
Yeah. But yeah, so all these like Eastern principles and stuff, and I was really into the law of attraction and stuff. And then crazy enough, when I started praying like to God just to see if it worked, I'm like, I'm just gonna see if this works. And so
got one eye open the whole time.
Exactly. Yeah. Are you there?
Yeah.
I don't know. So when I started doing that and I started taking action at the same time, instead of just doing the woo woo law of attraction stuff, like things just started boom, clicking, happening. And it's the weirdest thing.
Yeah.
I don't want to make this a whole like religious Christian Bible podcast, but read the fucking Bible.
Everyone read your Bible right now.
Literally right now. I feel real about that. My friend was sitting in here with me, and she saw the Bible, and she's like, why do you have that? I'm like, dude, I just like really think this is it. Like, I really think this is it. Yeah. And she's like, I've been thinking that too lately. I'm like, damn right. I'm like, let's go.
Yeah. Like, let's go.
Yeah. It was cool. All right. Anyway, let's talk about you more.
Okay.
Fine. Let's talk about me.
Fine. Twist my arm.
Okay. So I'm really interested in the fact that you were a CrossFitter, and this is not a CrossFit podcast, but this happens to be where you're at, right? I'm really interested in the transition from like even high school into CrossFit, but like trying to take it seriously, because I got the opportunity to talk to your dad one year. Like, funny enough, I met Grace's dad before I ever even knew who she was. And he came, I was working in a booth, where the company that shall not be named. Oh. Never mind. Yeah, they tried to get me to do some stuff for free recently. I'm like, never again. Never again. I
know my value. I know my worth.
Exactly. Yep. So anyway, your dad came up and he's like, we somehow got on the topic that we're both from this area. And he's like, oh, my daughter is trying to do the CrossFit thing. And I remember him saying that you guys were trying to make the decision on whether you should do the full-time athlete thing or if you should go to school and do it part-time. And I actually told your dad, I was like, she can always go to school.
Yeah.
Like always. You know, just do the CrossFit thing. You know, she's got a limited time to do that. Everybody has a limited time to do that, you know? So what was that like making the choice to either do CrossFit or school, but then you just did both?
So it was so hard. Like, I remember senior year of high school, like anytime anyone would ask, what are you doing for college? Like, I would just want to cry. Like, I just hated the conversation. Like, I had no idea what I wanted to do, but I think I kind of knew what I wanted to do, but it was not what other people wanted me to do. So it was scary and I didn't want to say it. And like, I knew that like I had no interest in going to a 4-year college or like living the college life, getting the college experience.
Other people as in your friends or like your parents and family?
Parents, like, and my parents have always been so supportive of whatever I wanted to do, but obviously like CrossFit is like relatively a newer sport, So having your daughter be like, I think I want to exercise fast for like instead of school is like, I don't blame them if they were kind of like, hold on, you know what I mean?
What are you talking about?
Yeah, like what do you? Okay,
we can go to Burn Boot Camp.
Right, exactly. Like I don't blame them. Like, and so, yeah, it was hard, but then. You know, I was like, I think I can do both. And I'm just going to do this to make everyone else happy and to make sure that I'm kind of like having a safety net. And then like, I'm also going to try to pursue CrossFit so that I can also have my side of it. And then I got to school and I just was so unhappy in that setting. And I think it was genuinely nothing like was like directly causing it, but it was just, that was not the path I was supposed to be on.
Right.
And so, and I felt it. And so then it was like that made the decision really easy when I just noticed like everything about me changing in a negative way. And I was like, this is not where I'm supposed to be or like what I'm supposed to be doing. And so that made the decision really easy. And then, I mean, it was still scary because at that point it's like, it's okay. So you're in the teenage division. Awesome. That's like playing high school basketball compared to professional. And so like nothing against like the teenage division of CrossFit at all, but it's just such a different game. And you go from like seeing your name, like top 30, top 20, like whatever. And then it's like your first year out of the teenage division, you're like in 1,000th place. And you're like, that sucks. Like that's so humbling. Yeah. And so it's like, that was my first year at that too. So then I'm like, dang, I say I want to like maybe not do school and pursue this professionally. And I'm not even the top 1,000 yet. Like that's crazy. But part of it was just like, I just had this feeling and like, I was like, this is what I want to do. And I know that again, like if I put everything I have towards this, whether I qualify for the games and compete at the games and make it my career or not, like where I'm supposed to be is going to come out of it. So I'm just going to like, for lack of a better term, like full send and like go for it. And like, hopefully it like turns out. Yeah. And then we've kind of just learned to like figure it out as we go from there. Yeah. And
well, you'll always be able to say that you tried too.
Yeah.
If for some reason, which I think it will happen, but if for some reason it didn't, you'll always at least be able to be the person that said, I tried and you didn't, you know? Yeah. You mentioned that a lot of things about you were changing in a negative way. What exactly was that? Freshman
year of college for me was really rough. Again, just because like I just was not happy with like being in school full time and trying to balance CrossFit. And I got to school and I just was like overcome with like anxiety and stress. And like I've dealt with like some anxiety and stuff like that in the past, but I felt like it had gotten like very under control. I hadn't dealt with it a long time. And then I get back to freshman year of college and it's like, oh my gosh, like all of a sudden back in an instant. And I like started at a gym that I'm not at anymore, but like that wasn't where I was supposed to be either. And so what was once like my safe space and my escape place turned into like another place of stress for me. So it was like school was a place of like stress, and then this other gym was a place of stress, and I'm across the country from home and my parents, and like I have a really good relationship with my family, so being away from them is hard. And like literally to the point where like physically I gained 20 pounds like the first like month of college just from like stress and just from like different everything. And I think just like the effect that all that was having on my body was just like, it was like literally, for lack of a better term, like manifesting like physically. And so I just noticed like just all of it. Like like my skin got bad again. Like I gained all that weight. Like I was stressed all the time. And then, so then it gets to a point where like, all right, I think something needs to change. Yeah. This is not normal. So that was kind of just like, you start to notice those things about yourself and you're like, okay, like I think I need to like change some things up. So we did.
So what were the things that you changed?
Well, first I was going to move home and I was really ready to just move back home, either do community college or like online college at home, living with my parents. And then my coach at the time was like, I know this guy, he owns this gym in Knoxville, try it. He's like, just try it. It's a different gym. It's like a little farther from campus, but they had competed against each other on teams at the games. So he was like, just go try it, whatever. And I go to this gym and it's like just amazing. And it's the gym that I'm still at now. It's CrossFit One Valley. And it just felt like home like right away. Nice. And so decided not to move home, stayed there. But yeah, changed to that gym, obviously changed how I do school and all that stuff. And then slowly things just kind of started to like get better from there. And I finished out freshman year at Tennessee. Okay. But starting sophomore year, I mean, moving out of the dorms was great for my mental health. Like trying to like track macros and like be an athlete
in the
like
cafeteria,
the oldest dorm on campus.
Yeah.
Oh my, like that was horrible. Like never again. But it made me very appreciative. So like
Sure.
now I'm like in an apartment and with like my best friends.
That's
and
good.
So it's like just like changes like that have just made like a world of difference.
So why'd you even do the college thing? I know like you kind of said that you wanted to keep everybody happy or whatever,
Yeah.
but you know, one thing that I try to tell, I train all high school kids for the most part. And I have this talk with quite a few now, is like, when you try to make everybody happy with the decisions that you're making, like you're never going to be true to yourself,
Yeah.
and it's never going to feel good. You know, like because say you go to, and you probably did feel this, but you go to school and it's not at all what you wanted to do. It's not what you're thinking. Now you're stuck there.
Right.
Right. And then you have the anxiety or whatever, you know, the anxiety problems, the mental health issues. Not just that, but then you have the freaking financial burden too that you have to take on later on.
Yeah.
And then waiting it out unless you're lucky enough to have like, you know, a way to get out or whatever. So I try to tell kids all the time, like, I'm the worst influence when it comes to school. So
Their parents are like, thanks.
yeah, their parents probably are like, thanks. But I truly believe that like your happiness comes first, and like success comes second. And success is a product of doing the things that make you most happy. Right. I try to tell kids all the time, like, if you don't feel like going to school, if you don't want to go to school right away, do not go to fucking school.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense. And also, by no means am I saying be a loser and sit on your ass and like, you know, stuff like play video games. I think video games are so fucking stupid, first off. But yeah, but playing video games or whatever, like obviously do something.
Yeah.
But when you're so young, you can't have a good perspective on like the things that you want to do long term. Like you have an idea of the things that you really enjoy. CrossFit is something that you really enjoy, but like, do I think that you know that you want to do that when you're 40 or whatever? I don't think you know that. I think that you know what you want to do right now, and it's a really good pursuit, you know. But so what's the whole reason for like actually following through with going to school? Was it simply just to keep other people happy?
Partially, but also I think it's just like it was so ingrained in my head that that's what you do. And it's like, you know, you go to high school. If you want a good job, you have to go to a 4-year college. And this is like kind of weird, but like I also had so many people tell me like you can't do both. Like you have to choose one. And like my personality, like my mom will tell you, like if you tell me that, like, oh, I'm gonna try. Like watch me try. Like if you tell me not to do something, or like not to do something, but if you tell me I can't do something, just like watch me try.
I'm the same way.
Even if it doesn't work, like whatever. And I just remember there was someone who was like, oh, so you're planning on competing and going to a big SEC school? And I was like, yeah. And he was like, yeah, good luck not partying every weekend. And I took that personally. I was like, bet, like literally like watch. And like,
was he stupid?
No, like he's a coach in like the CrossFit space, but like,
oh, he's a coach in the CrossFit space?
Yeah.
And he said that to you?
Yeah. It was, he's had athletes, that have not gone to college, and like, that's completely fine. But like, he's told them if they want to make it in CrossFit, they can't go to college. And
first off, how inappropriate of a thing to say to a teenager. Like,
yeah, it was, I mean, whatever. I use it as fuel, and I have nothing but, you know, like I have no hard feelings toward this guy. It was more just like remove what he said from the person. Like great guy, whatever. But like that kind of stuff, like almost like fuels it, which like for me was probably not the best thing, because it forced me into something that, not forced me into something, but it made me like feel the need to do something that like I didn't necessarily need to do. But yeah, and then it was kind of just like I felt like at that point like so much had been poured into like school that I was like, I feel like it's all going to waste if I just am like, you know what, like I want to like maybe do online college and focus more on the athlete side. Because like again, like it's CrossFit, like it's big in our world, but in like outside of it, it's like not that big. So like if you tell people that like you decided to like take a different path, like again, it's my path, so like why do you care? But like at the same time, like there's just little like when I'm 18 and a senior in high school, like everyone else's opinion seems so much bigger. And so now I wish I could go back and like just like tell myself, just like do what you do. But also at the same time, like I'm very happy with where I am right now. And like, I wouldn't be I wouldn't be with my gym or my roommates or like anywhere that I am without trying it.
No,
like,
100%.
Having those experiences. So
for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's funny that you say, I feel like people who are in CrossFit think that CrossFit's way bigger than it is.
Yeah. You get like really lost. And then like all of a sudden, like, so I'm in this group, it's like a church group and with Tennessee athletes.
Okay.
And, it was funny when I like started going there because like, you know, like when you're getting to know everyone, they're like, oh, what sport are you? Oh, football, baseball, whatever.
Oh, it's all different sports.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, it's like an FCA, like a Fellowship of Christian Athletes type of deal. And, yeah, it's awesome. But so they'd all be like, oh yeah, I'm baseball. Like I'm swim, I'm track. And I was like, I'm CrossFit. And they were like,
what is that?
they'd either be like, what is that? Or like, okay, cool. So you work out. Like, it's not. And then it's like, oh, so what's CrossFit? That's like weightlifting, right? And I'm like, well, like, yes, but no. And then like, you have to explain it. And it really just like puts into perspective how like small it is. But
how
like,
do you explain CrossFit to those people?
I mean, my favorite is just like exercising fast.
Yeah.
But like, I just say it's like you take like, it can be conditioning, weightlifting, gymnastics, running, any form of like fitness, and then make it competitive. Yeah. And for a score. Yeah. Kind of.
I always say to people, it's fitness racing.
Yeah. Like literally it is.
It's the quickest thing to say. But yeah, I've talked to a bunch of people that I'm like, you know, I've been fortunate enough to meet a lot of people like in the space. And before anybody on this podcast, I don't want to offend. Those are the people that I don't want to offend because everybody that's been on the podcast.
Right. Well, because that's your listeners.
Yeah. But also everybody that I've had on the podcast has been fucking awesome. They're great people. So this is not to any of you guys. But before I started this podcast, before I don't know, I guess talk to any of these people, I got to meet, because I would work with different companies at events. So I'd meet like all these, I don't know, like, I guess the best way to describe them is blue check marks, right? Like those type of people. Yeah. And some of their egos are like super inflated, right? And I like, like some people are like, no way you met that person. I'm like, I don't think you understand. It doesn't matter to me that I met them because I'm not in your world. Yeah. I don't know anything about this person.
This person, like, just as a person, yes.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I'm like, and then I found out that they like had the blue check mark or like 1 million followers. I'm like, but I have no idea who they are before that. And they're like, that's just insane. I'm like, is it? I don't know. Is it really? Because
okay, awesome. I'll take your word for it.
Yeah. And also like we're saying, CrossFit's so small. You could like you're saying, like, you could talk to probably like 50 people, say the name CrossFit, and they'd be like, they'd have no idea. They'd understand what CrossFit, like the name is, because they've heard it before, but they'd never be able to tell you what it is.
Right. Exactly.
So yeah, anyways. So what was it like having the discussion of wanting to leave college, at least part-time, and like pursue CrossFit more?
Yeah. Honestly, like, I'm very blessed with my parents because it was hard emotionally just making that big of a decision, but my parents...
Did you feel like you were letting them down?
Yeah. And like, because, you know, they both went to University of Madison, Wisconsin, and like so did my siblings and like my aunts, uncle, like literally everyone in my family.
Are they all doctors?
Yeah,
what's the deal?
No, they're not, but they're just all like, I don't know, like they just all they did the 4-year school thing. Yeah. And so like having that conversation, I mean, it was scary just knowing like that I was going to make that big of a change. But like at the same time, like I think my parents knew at the same time because they'd seen the way that I fell in love with CrossFit and they saw how much I like actually was like willing to put into it. It's not like I was like, oh, I like want to do this, but like I don't feel like training today. Like it was like they saw what went into it. And so like they trusted me enough and like they were like, okay, well then let's figure it out. So it actually was a lot easier than maybe it could have been if my parents weren't as awesome as they are.
Yeah, I mean, your dad seemed really on board for it when I talked to him, so that's really cool. Okay, and then what you probably don't give a shit, but what were your peers thinking? What are your friends thinking? How did you break the news to them?
Yeah, so I mean, I didn't really like text, like I didn't like let them, there wasn't like some big announcement, like I wasn't like I'm quitting school, because like no one really cares, like I don't know, no one really cares, but Like they were all like really supportive. I think at least my friends from home, like they were like, oh, like that's cool. Like it took them a little bit to understand, but I didn't have anyone literally be like, that's stupid. What are you doing?
You don't hear echoes of people like talking shit on the low?
Not like, not directly. I mean, maybe they are and I'm just not hearing it, but like at this
No,
point,
good.
I really don't
Yeah.
care. Like okay, like that's awesome. But no, I haven't heard at least any of like my friends say stuff like that, which has been really cool. And then like my
That's
friends
great.
in college are like super supportive, and they were like, oh, that's awesome. Like all they cared about that I was still gonna be there. Like
Yeah.
I have friends that were like, I don't want you to move home, whatever. And so like they just cared that I was still there, which was awesome. But yeah, no, I haven't had really like anyone that has like, at least to my face or that I've heard, been like, that was stupid. Like,
Yeah.
what are you doing? I mean, I'm sure they think it a little bit, but at the same time, like, I don't really care.
Yeah, no, that's good.
Yeah.
That's great. When you do come home, you know, because you probably know by now that like the come home thing is like everybody comes home for this is
Blackout Wednesday.
There we go.
Yeah.
It's Thanksgiving week. I was just gonna say that.
Yeah.
You come home for Blackout Wednesday, and then like you're hungover on Thanksgiving for Thursday, and then you
Right.
go out again Thursday night, Friday. What's that like? Do you get to see your friends, or are they too busy going out and getting drunk?
No, we're doing a little Friendsgiving on Wednesday.
Sweet.
So that should be fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I mean, when I come home, like I am so excited to see my friends, but like, and then if it turns into that, like, okay, like, darn, I have to spend more time with my family. Like I
Yeah.
love spending time with my family. So I'm like, okay, like I have no issue with it now, because I don't feel the pressure to like be at everything or like act like I want to be at everything.
Sure.
So I mean, it's really not that big of a deal anymore.
Cool.
Pretty easy.
What's the transition looking like now to being like, have you made semifinals yet?
Not yet. No.
Not yet. How far out are you?
Last year I was like between 30 and 40 spots, I want to say.
That's it?
Yeah, so it was close. It was
Yeah.
close. I wasn't looking at the leaderboard all weekend, but so like the way that quarterfinals works is there's like, it's like a weekend of workouts that they give you, and then like you have to submit workouts 1 and 2 by Friday at noon,
Yep.
workouts 3 and 4 by Saturday at noon, and workouts 5 and 6 by Sunday at noon or something like that. And so apparently like after the first or second like submission window, they took top 60 last year, and I was like sitting in 60th, and no one from my gym told me that until afterwards, but they were all like freaking out. Oh my gosh. And then like, unfortunately, like my worst workout of the weekend came after that. But
Which one was it?
the clean and jerk. It was like
Okay, yeah.
heavy clean and jerks and burpee box jump overs.
What was it for ladies?
185.
It was 185.
Which heavy for me, that's heavy. Okay.
Yeah.
So before anyone says that's not heavy, that's heavy for me. So it was heavy. But yeah. So it was pretty close last year. And then we're just working on it for this year.
Yeah. So what does that look like? What are you doing different now?
Oh gosh, yeah, I'm doing a lot different now. And it's been a lot of like undoing old habits and forming new ones, and like ways that I looked at training. Like I looked at training very immaturely.
Why? How so?
Like, even though I viewed it as training and not working out, like part of me was like, oh, well, the more you work out, the fitter you get. And the more Metcons you do, the fitter you're going to get. And if I want to breathe better during workouts, I just have to run for longer, and I just have to like do more than everyone else.
Yeah.
And that only gets you so far. I will say, I think that developed like a lot of like grit in my training, and like you could give me like however many workouts in a day, like I'll do them.
Yeah.
But it gets to a point where like now I have these big holes that are being exposed in every competition that I do, like my strength and like my barbell strength, and it's like those are not going to get better if I'm doing hour-long running intervals every day. Like that's just not going to happen. And so it's like immaturely in the sense of like, oh, well, this makes me feel good and I like doing it, so therefore I'm going to do it.
Yep.
Versus if I want to be a professional athlete, this is what I have to do.
Yeah.
And so my training looks very different. I have a new coach as of recently. His name's Dom, and he's been awesome. And my old coaches, like I love them still, and they got me like so far too. Like they helped me with so much. But now with where I'm at now, and like with where my training is, like when you're in the teenage division, like when I was in the teenage division, I was very like in the middle. Like I wasn't weak, but I wasn't strong. I wasn't like super fit, but I wasn't like so slow. Like I was pretty consistent. But then it's like you transition into this individual women's division, and it's like a completely different game. Like now all of a sudden, like I have like major weaknesses that like compared to the field are like holding me back. So like now, rather than like killing myself with a bunch of workouts every day, I'm like having to learn that like sometimes less is more, or like you need to take more deloads than you want. You need to lift more, and like you don't need to be doing 5 metcons a day in order to be fit. You can do like 1 or 2, and like if I need to get stronger, like that takes priority.
Yeah.
And so like even just like the way that I come into the gym, it was so funny. Like I spent the weekend with my coach the other weekend, and I was warming up for my lifting session, and he was like, "What are you doing?" And I was like, "Oh, I'm warming up." Like I was warming up a certain way, and he was like, "Why are you doing it that way?" And I was like, "Cause it's how I've always done it. Like this is how I warm up." And he's like, "That's not right, and this is why." And it's like just little things like that where it's like, oh my God, I don't even warm up right. Like what am I doing?
You're like sprinting or something?
Yeah, I'm like, what am I doing? But like the transition is like really hard mentally. Just wonder, it's like you're like, am I ever gonna get out of this phase? Like am I ever gonna like break through that wall? Especially when like you see other people doing it, and it starts to get discouraging a little bit when you see them doing it like faster than you, or like you feel like you're behind or whatever. But
we've only had 1 season in the women's division, right?
I've had 2.
In the individual women's?
2, yeah.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, so I had like a weird birthday for the teenage division, so I only got 3 years in the teenage division instead of 4. So it was like a little premature, but like.
Is teen only up until 17?
It's 18.
Okay.
Oh no, yeah, it is up till 17. Yeah, teenage is till 17.
No way. That's kind of whack.
Yeah. So I like turned like 18 like a couple weeks before the games.
No way.
So it was like. So I like couldn't compete as a teenager that year. So whatever. But yeah. And so like you start to like mentally it's really hard, but it's also really cool. Like just, I don't know, like I just love the like process of like figuring stuff out in the sport. Like I think it's really fun to like, oh, now we have to hammer this, and like if we want to fix this, we have to like do this. And I don't know. I think it's more fun to be like clawing your way to the top than be like being chased, I guess, at the top. Like it's more fun to be like, not, this is so corny, but like the underdog kind of thing. Like, like to try to be like working your way up to me is really fun. I mean, it's hard at times, but still it's like fun. So the transition is hard mentally, but at the same time, it's like really cool to like see myself growing into like, not just like a teenage athlete, but like a woman athlete, and like competing against some of the girls that I've like looked up to for a long time, and like seeing like, oh, I beat them in that. Like that's really cool, and all that kind of stuff. So
yeah, you got to enjoy the process, dude. You know?
Yeah.
It'll be way sweeter the harder you have to work for it.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. That's cool, dude. Well, I think that's a really good spot to end this. I ask people 3 questions at the end of every podcast. All right.
Okay.
You ready for them?
Yep.
Perfect. What's your biggest goal for the next year?
My biggest goal for the next year is to compete at semifinals.
Semis?
Yep.
Nice. Cool.
40.
All right. Yeah. What's this? All right. What? Explain this to me.
Yep.
Heather and I got into a little argument this morning because she's like, this new 25% is gonna make it so much more difficult. I'm like, why do you care? Like, you know, like me, her, and I were like, this year I'm just doing the open straight up for fun, not even to like figure out where I would place against people or whatever. I'm just, because I had a neck injury that I was dealing with for a long time. Like I couldn't even press a 25-pound kettlebell overhead. Nerve injury. Anyway, I'm just finally getting back to doing fitness. Yeah. And so I'm like, why do you care? Like, we're not in that 10% that go to semifinals or 1% that go to semifinals yet. And she's like, well, that just makes it hard for everybody else trying to get into semis. I'm like, no, make it make sense. You need to make it make sense to me, because I'm like, personally, this is how I think. Tell me if I'm wrong. Tell me if I'm an asshole. The top 40 are going to be the top fucking 40 no matter what. Yeah. Like, if you're the upper echelon of any sport, you will be that no matter what. Sure, there's going to be like going from 60 to 40. It's tough, right? Because there's 20 spots less. Okay, so work harder. Who cares? You know what I mean? Do you want to be 60th to get to semifinals, or do you want to be 20th? Right. You know? Yeah.
Yeah. It's hard as someone who is on that bubble of like wanting to get in. I can't say that it wasn't really frustrating to see that they cut it. But again, it's like, if I want to get there, well, you got to be good, you know? Like, you got to be top 40. I think it's hard when it's like an online format competition because there's a lot more like stupid little variables that can play a role.
Cheating.
Right, exactly. But again, like hopefully they're weeding that out and whatever. But yeah, I mean, it's not my choice and it's CrossFit made the decision. So like if I'm gonna play the game, I gotta play by the rules and like I gotta get top 40. So like it makes it a little more intimidating, but I mean, well,
but what does the 25% do? Does that doesn't affect you at all?
No, I mean,
right?
It makes CrossFit more money because more people. I think they want more people to sign up for quarterfinals. But
but it doesn't make it harder for those 40 people to make.
No,
it.
not at all. The only reason I think it makes it harder is because you'll have more people from your gym qualifying for quarterfinals, and then that becomes a whole like you have 15 people trying to complete these workouts in this time frame. But no, I don't think that should make it harder at all.
Yeah. It's a cash grab. For sure.
Yeah, it's more the 60 to 40 that makes it really hard. But I don't know. Maybe I should just move to Africa because they also get 40. So,
is there not a lot of people that come out of Africa or what?
No, there's like none.
Oh,
there's a few. No offense,
go to Africa.
From Africa watching this, but like I don't think there's many, and I think they get the same amount. If I'm right, I think they get the same amount of semifinal spots. But no, but like I mean, it's when I saw it, I was like, dang, okay, like 60 felt very in reach. 40 is scary, but like my coach was like, I mean, just because it's scary doesn't mean you can't do it. Like,
yeah, I mean, 40 people is a lot of people. Still, like if you really think about it, 40 is a lot.
Yeah.
You can definitely become one of the 40 if you're just like edging that, you know, that little. Yeah, if you're right there, who cares? You got it. Okay, and then what are you willing to sacrifice to achieve that goal?
Almost everything, but not like my values, not my morals, not my who I am for it. But I mean, I've already kind of done the whole sacrifice this college social life, college experience.
Yeah.
I already moved away from my family and home and like the comfort of that. I don't know, like you sacrifice like even just like time, like when I'm training like full time, it's like wake up, go to the gym, stay there, do my homework, coach, train, sauna, cold plunge, recover, like come home like later and then like go to sleep, do it again. So it's like if your friends are like, oh, do you want to like go do this, like whatever. So like I mean, it's a sacrifice, but it's not because it's what I love to do. But sometimes you're like, dang, I wish I could just be a 20-year-old girl and like go do something fun on a Saturday morning, you know, whatever. But instead I'm doing burpees for an hour. Yeah. It's fine. But like, no, yeah. I mean, I don't think there's really much that I'm not willing to sacrifice besides, you know, like who I am as a person and like my morals and values that I've accumulated. But like like kind of like superficial things, like I don't care.
Yeah.
You know?
Totally. I love that. And the third question is, what are you not willing to sacrifice for those goals? But for that goal, but you answered
Sorry,
it.
I gotta put those two together.
Yeah, that's great. Most people do.
Yeah.
I guess with that being said, what are some of the values that you wouldn't, or the morals that you would not?
Well, like again, just I think it's really easy to let CrossFit become an idol in your life, and it's like the biggest thing. And like if my heart has CrossFit sitting at the top, I think that's when everything starts to go south. And usually it's like it's kind of fun. It's not funny, but it's kind of funny because like you get humbled really fast.
Yeah,
it does. Like I've caught myself, like I was just training for a competition recently, and I felt myself like putting that competition just like at the top of my heart and everything, and then boom, I hurt my neck, and I was like, well, I just got really humbled because like it's like check yourself type of thing. So I mean, it's easy to get like that, but like to not lose like what's the most important, and then just like how I treat people, because sometimes if you're like training a lot or like you're going really hard, you can start to get just kind of like snippy or like whatever. And so I don't want to get like that to the people who like pour so much into me. Like I want to like stay like fun and happy and like actually enjoyable to be around, and not just like, oh, she's back from the gym.
Sure.
Like everyone locked themselves in their room. Like no one wants to be here. Like, no, I want to like still be like enjoyable to be
a good roommate and friend.
Yeah, a good friend, whatever, all that stuff. So that would be pretty much it. I mean, yeah, I don't know.
Cool.
That was pretty. Yeah.
All right, perfect, dude. Well, hey, thanks so much for your time. I appreciate you coming in,
me,
chilling.
yeah.
Hopefully you come train at the gym this week some more. And yeah, like, subscribe. We'll see y'all in the next one. Like this video if you agree with Grace's morals. Yeah, that's what.
And dislike it if you don't, and let me know about it.
Yeah. Wait, don't dislike the video.
No, don't dislike the video. Go like DM me or something.
Yeah.
It's more personal.
All right, thanks for watching, guys. We'll talk to you in the next one. Peace out. Goodbye. Thanks, dude.
Yeah, thanks.
Appreciate
That
that.
was good.
Yeah.